On this episode, the 700 gets a fuel pump. Alright, so on the way down there to that car meet tonight, I felt a little blubber in the gas pedal, like I lost fuel pressure. But then it came back and it was fine. Looks like we're going to do fuel pickup, maybe a fuel pump next week. Alright, so what I'm getting ready to do here this morning is to pull the can off the bottom of the fuel pump to see if the filter on the pump is clogged. I already said about the running out of gas. The truck didn't run out of gas, but it shut off. It didn't have any fuel in the carburetor, so it's not getting gas in the carburetor. Alright, so I got the can loose and it has gas in it. So you can see right there. So I got an oil filter and a fuel filter. That's also the fuel pump right there. There's the filter. Nothing looks abnormal up at the pump side. Filter's like a little dirty, but nothing crazy. I've had these things like collapse. And then gas looks good, smells good. There's some stuff there down at the bottom, but that's fine. That doesn't get past the filter. We're fine, and I don't think it is. There's the filter. But now the problem is there was no fuel to the carburetor. So now, is the pump failed mechanically or the diaphragm not working? The next step's going to be removing the fuel line up here, because like I said, there's still no fuel in the carburetor. One thing I'm going to change before we put the fuel pump on is I'm going to change fittings. The fuel pump came with this fitting. I'm going to replace it with this one. I just picked this up at Ace Hardware. That's going to allow it to hook up the same way with the same fuel lines the truck has right now. We got the old pump off. And I had this pump off recently, and not having one off in quite a while, it didn't seem like it was a bad pump. I thought I was sucking air in the fuel line. That's why my fuel filter that I had in line between this and the carburetor wasn't filling with fuel. It was getting a little bit of fuel, but not much. I thought I was sucking air in the fuel line, so I replaced the fuel line and all that. But this pump has a little bit of play in it, but that's normal, where nothing happens for a little bit in the swing on this arm. But there's a spring that holds it up, that takes up the slop. Then it actually starts to move the diaphragm, and there's a second spring in there that you'll feel. This one's not doing anything really. When I try to pump it, I can't move it too much. This one has the same play with a little bit of a spring-loaded arm to it. But then you can hear that. The diaphragm is moving air. Right? Sucking here, blowing out here. So this pump gave up just the other night on the way back from the car meet. So I'm very, very fortunate that it conked out in front of Wise, nowhere else, because I was very close to the house. I was able to basically coast this thing home. Nothing was really wrong. I mean, it's just an old pump. Gasket's not bad. I mean, I could almost reuse the gasket. I'll put the new one, or one of the new ones, on here, and then that's it. There wasn't any preload on the pump. Cam lobe is out of the way, so it should bolt in easily. The only hard part about this would be is if the cam was actually pushing on this. So when you try to install the pump, you have to push on the arm and kind of fight it to line the bolts up. That's not that hard. You just bump the motor around a little bit and it'll go away. It'll get out of the way. Alright, did I mention we're trying to beat the rain? Alright, it goes back in the same way it came out. This is a little tricky to get it lined up, so see it down there. I'm just turning it in with the extension, and then I'll tighten it up. It's not too hard to replace. There is only one way to get to things. I can get to these, you know, bolts with the extension. Right, I'm just doing it finger tight because this is knurled. I'll hook the ratchet to that and be able to tighten it up, you know, the right way. But I'll get down underneath and I'll tighten the fuel lines from the bottom. Alright, we're gonna let this charge up and then we'll try it after it rains. Alright, we're gonna see if the fuel pump fixed it. Coil wire was disconnected, that's why it didn't start. A little cheat here will be our little jack oil bottle with gasoline in it. Alright, we do have a fuel leak. Alright, so I just fixed the leak. The leak was the canister that goes in the fuel pump that holds the filter, the O-ring at the top of that. It was just tightened by hand and not very tight. I don't tighten it much more than like as tight as I can make it by hand. That way I can change it easily. But it needs to at least be snug, and it wasn't very tight at all. Other than the exhaust leak, it's running good again. Got the breather, new breather cap, new fuel pump.